Smile.
What we do here is go back.
Tile plus Kirby Paint Tile.
Yo, what up, YouTube? It's Charles Sadler here with Evershade Gaming, and I'm bringing you another 9th Age battle report. So I got in a game against Shyhammer at Adepticon. I know it's been a few weeks since I put a battle report out. Me and the Kirby Paint Tile Plus boys tried to make a podcast, and we were successful in doing that, but I couldn't get it uploaded. So woe is me. I got a little in a little funk about that, but I'm here. I'm making a battle report, and I've got a great game for you. You probably already saw it because Shyhammer put up his video. Our game like 2 weeks ago. But life is pain. And you gotta keep making battle reports. So here is my Adepticon round 3. So round 3 actually had something interesting for the scenario and the deployment. You got to roll for it. I actually really liked this. I enjoyed this. Most tournaments, you have like your set scenarios, you have your set objectives. It was kind of interesting to have one where it was like, oh, who knows what it's going to be? We're going to roll for it. It's going to be random. So we rolled up Frontline Clash, and then our objective was capture the flags. So let's have a look at Shyhammer's list. He has a Iron Orc General with the Bloodfist Helm, Rod Rebirth, and the Divine Icon, and he just has paired weapons and a shield. I don't think he had a great weapon. He might have had that too, so he could swap between all the items. And then he has a Goblin Witch Doctor with 4 spells from Pyromancy, Obsidian Rock, Ring of Fire. The Obsidian Rock really threw me off. I feel like you never see magic resistance, so it was interesting to see a character with magic resistance. And then he has a Common Orc Lord on a boar with the Axe of the Apocalypse, Lucky Shield, Potion of Swiftness, and the Talisman of Greater Shielding. This guy just kind of runs around and, has threat on his own. He's got a Goblin Force BSB with the Skull Splitter, Panic Protection pitching. And then he's got a big block of 36 Goblins with bows, 2 things of 30 Cave Goblins with bows, a Goblin Wolf Chariot, an Orc Boar Chariot, a big horde of 32 Iron Orcs with the Rending Banner, and then a Gargantula. So it's pretty much like, there's just a lot of shooting. There's a couple moving threats with the Gargantula and the Orc War characters. So interesting list. I really liked it. So Shyhammer and me were both running Pyromancy, and I'm pretty sure we had like the same spells, except I don't think he had Cascading Fire. I think he had something else, but I don't think we casted it. So we both had Enveloping Embers, Scorching Salvo, and Pyroclastic Flow. And really, Enveloping Embers and Scorching Salvo were the big spells that we were both casting each phase and both trying to stop each phase. For deployment, Shyhammer, I think I let Shyhammer start deploying first, and he just dropped everything. We might have traded a couple drops, and then he dropped everything. Regardless, I guess he got turn 1 with dropping. So the board chariot is on the left, and then he's got his board character next to his Gargantula, and then his wolf chariot is next to the normal goblin horde. Behind that is one of his cave goblin units. His Iron Orcs are right in the middle, and then to the right of the Iron Orcs is another cave goblin unit of both. I believe the BSB and the wizard both started in the normal common goblins. So for my deployment, I put my demis on my right side. They're going to go after one of those cave goblin units. And then I have a Flagellants on the hill, and then I put my knights next to them. I have my heavy infantry in the forest with the mortar behind them and the arcane engine behind that. And then next to the heavy infantry is my Imperial Guard with both my Wizard Master and my BSB. And then I have my 10 militia next to them, and another unit of Flagellants all the way on the left, and the 2 cannons, kind of behind zoning behind those units. So James went first. ONG turn 1. He moves up. Mostly just with the Gargantula to get that in a better position. I think the Chariots scoot up a little bit, but most of the hordes they might move up 4 inches, so they can still shoot. But that's about it, really. In the magic phase, it's pretty uneventful, and the shooting phase is also uneventful. I just lose a few heavy infantry over the course of magic and shooting. So EOS, turn 1. Put ready aim fire on the militia, and then I honestly don't really move up that much. I move up with 1 unit of flagellants on the right, and same thing with the Knights of Sun Griffin. It's capture the flags, and he's got a lot more shooting than me, so I need to engage him somewhere. My magic phase starts out with Scourging Salvo, and kills a couple goblins here and there. And then I do a Ring of Fire and the Wolf Chariot, and I think I get like 4 or 5 hits. And I think I just do a wound. In the shooting phase, this cannon misfires. This cannon hits his Gargantula, does 4 wounds, and the mortar also misfires turn 1. So and okay, turn 1. Orcs and Goblins turn 2. I missed his movement, but go right into the magic. I had 5 dice. I know he gets a Ring of Fire off, and he kills, some flagellants here, and then I think he kills another one with the attribute later on, and then pretty much right into the shooting phase, he starts working on the heavy infantry more. EOS, turn 2, we do on the double on the the militia. The flagellants actually fail a frenzy test and charge the Wolf Chariot, surprisingly. They made the charge, so it was like a 14 or 15-inch charge. And the Knights of the Sun Griffin charge, and they go through 2 flagellants, and I only lose 1 Knight of the Sun Griffin, so I think I took 4 wounds, but that was not too bad at all, honestly, for 46 strength 5 hits with arm piercing, so I felt pretty good. I think he rolled a little bit low, below average, and then, they're toughness 4, strength 5, so only wounding up 3s. But yeah, they survive and they get into the Cave Goblins. So for the rest of my movement, I'm kind of moved the heavy infantry out of the forest with the Arcane Engine. I'm kind of worried I'm just going to get shot to death, or with pyromancy. So and that honestly, I think that horde could probably get if they even got like 20 guys into the goblins, I think I have a chance of just beating them with just with hatred and all the maybe getting a bounce spell off or something like that. This is also a great picture to show the rest of James's movement. So he moved his Gargantula up quite a bit. I don't know if the picture captures it, but his boar character is pretty much trying to get behind the Cave Goblin unit where the Knights of the Sun Griffin are fighting it. They're going to get into conflict later on. But yeah, so he's pretty much he's been moving up to maximize his bow shots. And I'm feeling the pressure of his shooting, so I start moving up to engage those shooting units. In the magic phase, I get Volan's Blessing off on the heavy infantry, just in case the Gargantula charges in. But in the shooting phase, another cannon hits and does 3 more wounds, so that thing only has 1 more wound left, so I probably didn't even need to really do that. The flagellants, they mop up the Wolf Chariot, and they overrun to be right there. And then in the Cave Goblin unit, I don't take any wounds. I dish like 8 or 9 out, but they stick because they're steadfast right now. At the start of ONG turn 3, the Boar Chariot is looking for revenge and charges the flagellants. And then pretty much right in the shooting phase, the heavy infantry just start getting plucked on more and more. So as you can see in the picture, we're down to less than 3 full ranks, so they're starting to feel it. In the combat phase, the Boar Chariot rolls up 7 impact hits, does a whole bunch of wounds. We do 2 wounds back to it, but in the end, we're unbreakable, so we're stuck there. But it's looking bleak for the flagellants right now. And then over here in the combat phase, the Knights of Sun Griffin do well again. I think James keeps doing 1 wound to them. And they just passed the 2-up armor save, thankfully, because I'm pretty sure that one guy is just sitting with 2 wounds on him, so he's on death's doorstep. But we do break the goblins, which was great. And since they were one of the units that I needed to capture, I overrun and I ended up going into his boar character. So the challenge has started. EOS turn 3. I actually charged with the Imperial Guard into the cave goblins, which are in front of the common goblins. It's kind of a little bit hard to distinguish which unit is which, but the cave goblins are in front right now. And he releases his Mad Gits, and they fall short of hitting my unit. And then I fail the charge. So as you can see, they're just sitting right in front of my unit. In the magic phase, I get Scorching Salvo off, and it was actually really useful because I was able to get rid of both the flagellants, or the Mad Gits, I mean. And I mean, I did a few little bit of wounds there, but that was really good. I don't remember really doing too much else in that phase. We also charged our Gargantula. I kind of totally forgot I did that, actually. But you can see the Knights have charged the flank of the Gargantula. Between the Mortar and the Militia, we do some serious damage to the cave goblins in the front, and they're looking quite diminished. After combat, everyone is reformed like this. The Knight Commander did the last wound to the Gargantula. Ooh, this guy over here, so he pretty much, I think he rolled, you know, both +3 attacks, +3 strength with this guy, so he goes to town. He does 5 more wounds. The Griffs do 1 wound. They lose combat by 3, and this one guy holds on his own. I think I needed like a 5. So that was great. No reroll, just sticking on his own. Orcs and Goblins, turn 4. That's probably the most important thing to show you, is he hits the heavy infantry with an enveloping fire, and it just kills a ton. And then after shooting, there's 4 guys left. So I was feeling really good. I felt like I had a lot of guys left. I had the Iron Orcs chaffed up, and then that's it. All the heavy infantry is dead. And this Knight of the Sun Griffin is still alive, surprisingly. I believe I don't remember what attacks he got, but he just whiffed on his roll to hit, and then even to wound. And so, but then I think I struck back too, and I think I did like 1 or 2 more wounds, but then he saved it with his regen and his armor save. But I was getting, he was even proclaiming, he was even like oracling that like this guy's gonna die right here or something like that. And I think we were both like, oh, this is gonna happen. Holy, you know, oh my gosh! But then he just passed his save. So, but it was getting really spicy, really exciting for a second. And try as it can, the Boar Chariot could not finish off the last 3 flagellants. It ends up getting the guys down to 1 more dude, but they just did one wound around, and they just ended up killing it. I thought it had 5 wounds too. I totally forgot they only had 4 wounds. So they beat it, and that one guy reforms. EOS turn 4, we do on the double on the Imperial Guard, and they attempt to charge the Cave Goblins, but the Cave Goblins flee. And then, unfortunately, the Flagellants I had redirecting the Iron Orcs fail they had a Leadership 9 Frenzy check, but they fail that, and they have to charge in as well. So you can actually just see the Cave Goblins later on, beyond the normal Goblins. This was so upsetting. In the magic phase, I get enveloping fire off on his big unit of common goblins, but to my terrible rolling and James's great rolling, I think I only kill like 6 out of the 30. You know, I haven't really touched that unit with shooting or anything, but I think I only kill like 6 with magic and maybe like 1 or 2 with shooting. It's really dismal roll with enveloping fire. I really needed something something bigger, like his on my heavy infantry. There's still a ton of them left. So his Orc Warlord finishes off my Knights of Sun Griffin, and then ONG turn 5. He declares a charge on a couple of my units. I flee, and then we go into the shooting phase. The heavy infantry die to a man, unfortunately, and the Arcane Engine takes a couple wounds, and the militia gets shot at, and they flee as well. So Empire of Sonstel, turn 5. Kind of trying to just conserve points at this point in the game. The militia keep fleeing; they don't rally. And I moved my Knight Commander out of the unit. I wasn't really sure exactly what to do at this point. Yeah, I guess I didn't want him to get caught in that unit against that his Boar character. The Boar character is kind of close, so I put Cascading Fire on these guys, just a preventive measure, and then I shoot at this dude with this cannon, and it kills him. Get past his ward. I was so close here. This was a meta moment almost in the making. You can just see it's kind of a little blurry actually. I just missed James taking the picture of his Boar character dying to my cannon. I saw him taking it. I was like, I need to do this because I mean it's great when battle reporters play against battle reporters, but I was like, I need to get this picture of James taking a picture. So it's just super meta and great. But I missed it unfortunately. So it's just a blurry picture of his fallen over Orc Boar character. Not much really happens on Orcs and Goblins turn 6. James, he does a little bit of shooting here and there. He kills Hero Guard. He can't kill the Arcane Engine. His Boar characters, all his fast-moving things are dead at this point. And he's already got the objective, so he pretty much just sits still. He doesn't really need to do anything. On my turn 6, I do on the double on my heavy infantry. And these guys do not rally, I believe. I believe they're still fleeing at the end of the game. And I march out just to get in range to do as much pyromancy. It does a little bit of damage here and there, but it doesn't do enough to give me any extra points. That was my only probably bugaboo this game maybe was my pyromancy. I had good rolls for everything. The rolls were fine. I was getting 12 or 13 hits with the 2d, or I'm not, maybe not the 2d6, sorry, but I was getting good hits with my fireball or my ring of fires, my pyroclastic flows, my scorching salvos were getting good hits, but I wasn't really getting the wound rolls. That was the only thing I was missing. I was getting the hits, but the wound rolls were all falling really short. It's I'm wounding on 3s. I've got 5 hits, I'm wounding on 3s, and 1 wounds or something like that. So that was just kind of a constant kind of terrible thing that was happening to me. So, but let's look at the end of the game. So despite my losses, I actually kind of collected a decent amount of points from that Boar character and their Gargantula, and I kept all my characters alive, which was good. So I won a little bit on battle points, but I lost on the objectives. So it went from an 11-9 to a 12-8 in James's favor. So which was I didn't even feel too bad about that. I wish the heavy infantry just survived, really. The scoring units we picked out I picked out all his goblins because I didn't even want to mess. I didn't even want to come. I didn't even want to get within an inch of those iron orcs. They terrified me. They just blow through my knights, any of my knights, and honestly I think they blow through my heavy infantry too. So I wanted to stay away as far as possible. James on his part chose, I think wisely, for my scoring units. He chose the Imperial Guard, the heavy infantry, and the Knights of Sun Griffin, which were all good choices, I think. Although actually I was almost kind of surprised he didn't choose the normal knights instead of the Imperial Guard. I guess, yeah, 15 dudes with a 3-up versus 9 dudes with a 1-up. And I guess you're going to do more wounds to the guys with 3-up. So, yeah, great choices by James. Really fun game. And I want to thank everybody for watching. This has been Evershade Gaming with a 9th Age Battle Report. See you soon.